So this whole, Lauri Markkanen, or it's Lauri. I don't know why I said Lauri. Lauri. I always say Lauri. But Lauri Markkanen situation is interesting because we all know they want a Mikal Bridges trade package at this point, which seems to be for a guy like, Lauri is worth it. I really like Lauri Markkanen. And Markkanen is a guy that obviously the Jazz are in a weird situation. That they're a team that they're seemingly increasingly going to renegotiate and extend Lauri Markkanen when he becomes eligible on August 8th. Markkanen's on an $18 million expiring deal, and they explored the trade market. We knew the Kings made an offer with a package of picks. The Jazz were non-committal, and the Kings pivoted and signed a trade for DeMar DeRozan. We heard that the Golden State Warriors will wait for a definitive answer on Markkanen's availability as they're comfortable entering the season, per usual, with a 14-man roster, according to Anthony Slater of The Athletic. Golden State has 12 legitimate rotational players entering the camp, and they acknowledge that they're not even a fringe contender without one large move, such as a player of Markkanen's caliber. The possibility of offering future picks holds an appeal across the league, given the uncertainty of the franchise's future when Stephen Curry is no longer in the team. Utah has found those future picks from the Warriors appealing in the Markkanen's discussion. Now, I've said this before. I mean, they do have the young players and stuff. I think the only team that the three teams that can really get themselves arguably Lauri Markkanen is the Oklahoma City Thunder, the San Antonio Spurs, and maybe the Golden State Warriors. Because the Golden State Warriors could offer a combination of Kuminga, Moody, I guess you could say B-Pod, Trace Jackson Davis. Wiggins could be, salary filler if they had to. And then a bevy of picks down the road that, like they said, that could be very interesting. Because, in 6-7 years, we don't expect Curry to be there anymore. While the Oklahoma City Thunder and San Antonio Spurs just both have, astronomical amount of picks that they could just be like, here you go. And then they both have young talent. I think the Spurs had better talent that they could offer, that they'd be willing to offer than the Thunder. The Thunder have better talent, but the Thunder would be like, we're not offering it. We're offering you the picks and salary filler. Spurs would be like maybe like Jeremy Sohan and anybody not named Victor Wembanyama and Devin Vassell would be up to offer. So definitely an interesting one to see. I want to hear your guys' thoughts though. The Warriors, again, if they would have to do it before they extend him, so they can get him for the $18 million, because you would then package Kuminga, probably Moody, and B-Pod, and then a bunch of picks for Markkanen.
The Warriors want to go all in. Lauri Markkanen is eligible to renegotiate and extend his contract. We know Utah's Danny Ainge and Justice Zanuck have received a bevy of interest from teams around the league regarding Lauri Markkanen. And from what I know, Lauri Markkanen is not expected to be traded anytime soon. The league-wide belief is that Jazz would only consider moving Markkanen for a similar trade package to what the Knicks gave up for Mikal Bridges, a player Utah tried to acquire and pair with Markkanen. For context, New York overwhelmed the market for Bridges, who has 2 years on his contract, by agreeing to trade 4 unprotected first-round picks, an unprotected pick swap, and a protected first-round pick. Markkanen is owed $18 million this season and is in the final year of his contract, but is extension eligible. Utah has inquired about other star players like Damian Lillard in the past year. This is perceived a needle-moving point for Utah this offseason for many executives around the league over the next year or so. Opposing executives believe the Jazz will either find a star player to pair with Markkanen in an attempt to compete at a higher level, or they're going to have to trade Markkanen while his value is at its highest and retool the roster and go into a legit rebuild as they try to build future long-term sustainable success. Now, the Warriors, Kings, and Spurs, and Timberwolves and Pelicans are all people who've interested in trading for Markkanen. Regarding Golden State, its top trade asset is Jonathan Kuminga, but they would not trade Jonathan Kuminga for Lauri Markkanen. Sacramento has shopped Kevin Huerter and Harrison Barnes. And Utah, however, would ask for Keegan Murray, who Sacramento has identified as a core piece that they believe it can be just as good as Lauri Markkanen. So you don't know if they're going to do there. San Antonio has draft assets such as Devin Vassell, who's untouchable. So it would have to be Keldon Johnson and Jeremy Sohan that they dangle. While Minnesota is a tougher partner, unless Timberwolves are theoretically willing to move Karl-Anthony Towns or Jaden McDaniels in a package for Markkanen. And by all accounts, Minnesota appears to be willing to bring the core back together and will try to make a deeper playoff run. New Orleans has gauged the trade market for Brandon Ingram, and sources tell Hoops Hype that the Pelicans have other young assets in Trey Murphy and Herb Jones, and that they would be reluctant to get rid of those, but those are the ones that Utah would want. So a Brandon Ingram for Lauri Markkanen isn't going to happen. Karl-Anthony Towns and Jaden McDaniels for Lauri Markkanen isn't going to happen. So the only ones you're really looking at is, will Keldon Johnson, Jeremy Sohan, and whatever young assets and draft assets be from the Spurs would be good enough? Would Kevin Huerter, Harrison Barnes, and anyone not named Keegan Murray, De'Aaron Fox, Malik Monk, and Domantas Sabonis be good enough, and picks would be good enough for the Utah Jazz? And finally, would the Warriors be able to do a deal? And I think the Warriors know, out of all those teams, who can give the Jazz the best deal? And it's them. First off, Andrew Wiggins is the player that they can offer if they wanted to just do straight up salary. But if they tell him, hey, don't renegotiate the deal, we'll renegotiate the deal. And we'll send you a combination of like B-Pod, Gary Payton, and Kevon Looney and Moses Moody, or Moses Moody. Yeah, actually take off Kevon Looney. Moses Moody, Gary Payton, and B-Pod, and 2 first-round picks or 3 first-round picks for Lauri Markkanen. Do you go ahead and you do that? I think that's just something that you have to maybe consider. But yeah, I think that's where you're at when you're looking at how this is all going to go ahead. And I don't think his contract's that bad. And Andrew Wiggins, when you don't understand, Andrew Wiggins after the NBA Finals, arguably top 10 defender in the NBA, top 5 maybe. If you can get back to that, he actually finished the season strong. It's really not that bad. It's not like DeAndre Hunter. So I think there's room to do stuff. I want to hear you guys' thoughts on that one. I'm curious. It's an interesting one. I think the Warriors aren't doomed. I think they'll be able to make some movers. The Warriors are going to wait to rebuild after Steph Curry. I think they're going to try to push the chips to the middle of the table for the last few years. That's it. That's everything I wanted to talk about. If you guys missed anything, you can go back. But I'm going to clip this, so you can just wait for the clips to come out. Cheers.